So I was on Twitter the other day. Yes, I'm calling it Twitter, not whatever Elon rebranded it as, because it's still Twitter. Everything said on here is as brain dead as ever, but obviously there's some good things. You just have to read between the lines. Unfortunately, today I've got a few good ones and lots of bad ones, and you might be asking yourself why that is. And I'm here to tell you. So I found this tweet here by Mayo Setsuna. Let me know I butchered that, by the way. Some console fanboys' logic. Not buying console games day one equals broke. Not buying games full price equals broke. Not buying the same game multiple times equals broke. Not buying all the DLCs, broke. Playing F2P games, broke. Playing only on PC, broke. Can you guess who's this? And you won't believe the fanboy they're speaking of is real, but trust me, they're real. In fact, I've seen them before. They are just as bad as I remember them being. But anyways, I looked at the replies to this comment and I found out they meant Nintendo fanboys in particular, and even worse, it's one you may be familiar with if you've been on the internet. The name, as this person points out, is Midna's Lament. They have 60.9k posts. They've only been on Twitter since 2023. That's how you know this is going to be a fun one. If you didn't know as well, Midna's Lament is a track in the Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. This is obviously their favorite video game, and since it's a Nintendo game, you can already guess what kind of fanboy they are. And they show that pretty well in these tweets I'm about to go over here, so without further ado, please grab yourself a drink and a snack, and let's get into this. So here's where I really decided to pick up on this, because this is just fucking funny. Midna says, Nintendo haters are some of the most evil people in gaming, with this picture of a cycle with Metroid Prime 4. New, generally good game is announced, hype is going well. To the smallest, most inconsequential things are revealed about the game. Journalists' reviews come out, some or most purposely say bad things about it. The most evil and vile people on the internet come crawling out of the woodwork and purposely kill all hype for the game. Ah yes, the how dare you have valid criticism for a game that I love, you're just haters and don't get it mentality.
Dumber than dirt, ain't you?
This guy is seriously making that argument. I'm just gonna say it right now. You made this meme, and yeah, it's a joke, because hype for an actual game goes really well. Some examples are Baldur's Gate 3 and Expedition 33. People didn't like Metroid Prime 4 then, and guess what? They still don't like it now. The criticism mainly for the game is that it isn't like a true Metroidvania. The wide open desert takes away from the game severely and only gives padding to a game that would be shorter otherwise. People don't like useless filler. That's the biggest criticism of most open world titles. Before you say Metroid Prime 4 isn't open world, I'm aware. Regardless, the desert area was absolutely designed like one. It's massive with basically nothing in it. The little it does have are shrine-like locations that make the game feel like Breath of the Wild. So just because it isn't literally one, doesn't excuse it being designed like one. Another criticism was that the story made Samus a silent protagonist. She never says a word. And it doesn't help because that's the main reason everyone's annoyed with the guy who sounds like a Redditor. He can't shut up, and Samus won't fucking say anything. It's frustrating and irritating for the players. There's plenty of critique videos online you can watch if you want the full rundown. We'll get into the absolutely shocking replies to that in a moment, but first let's go to Woken JJT's tweets over here to give the full picture, which again is about Metroid Prime 4. Woken JJT says in reply to someone mocking the Redditor-like character, why are people acting like this isn't exactly how it would be if you met Samus? And I'd like to share some of the replies they got here. The Doctor says, there's a right way and a wrong way. The scientists in Half-Life were relieved, but never fangirling, because both Half-Life and older Metroid games understood visual storytelling with little words needed. Which, yeah, is a big problem with lots of games these days, is that they hold your hand during the game, and it's like people who make video games believe in a reasonable percent that we don't have critical thinking for games anymore. Which, I mean, if we're talking statistically, there are some, but that number is usually lower than their core audience. Then again, when people like Woken JJT make quotes like these, is it really so hard to believe there's some pretty stupid people saying these games are actually worth your time investment? Always try a game yourself before knocking it. That used to be a good standard, but these people need to get with the times. A user review is usually telling the truth to you unless you don't have the ability to pick them apart to know what's true and what isn't, and then find one that does say the truth. And the majority of people these days, of course, are rather going to do that than spend money on a $450 console, let alone buy Metroid Prime 4 for it if the said game is bad, which according to reviews the last time I checked, it is. On Metacritic, it has a similar critic and user score. The user score is 7.9 based on a slew of 2,200 reviews, meaning the main reason it has such a high score is because most people found the game to be mid. Look here, multiple negative reviews and mid reviews. The reason reviews exist is to make an informed opinion before wasting your hard-earned money on a garbage product, especially these days, where games like Metroid Prime 4 cost $70. I don't don't care if you consider that the standard since PlayStation. That doesn't change the fact that it's too expensive to just hand over that kind of money to. If you think otherwise, you aren't a wise spender. Anyways, I spent too much time on this, so let's move on to the replies to Midna's earlier tweet. The company You Glaze sends copyright lawsuits to shut down charity events. Midna says in response, "You're clearly leaving out context. That context being that those charity events pirated the game."
I just want to talk to him.
Why do you have a shotgun?
I just want to talk to him.
Dad, this is ridiculous.
I just want to talk to him. I just want to talk to him. I just want to talk to him.
It is not his fault.
I just want to shoot him. I just want to talk to him.
You can't shoot him.
Wait, what are you doing?
So cancel helping people because of legality of a software that's no longer being bought or sold for is okay to you, which is some pretty big Nintendo fanboying on Midna's part, because if the game isn't being sold anymore and it's too hard to obtain a legitimate copy, the only option to get a legitimate copy is piracy. No, Nintendo Classics doesn't count. Since it can be taken away at any time, that is not a legitimate copy. I'm not saying I advocate for it, but it's the truth, which is clear by the fact you got ratioed so hard by this reply. If you think that the Nintendo Classics with Nintendo's online service is a legitimate copy of these titles, I think you're an idiot. Schlongest Print brings up a good point. Barely 10 years ago, they were sending DMCA shutdowns and cease and desist to YouTubers for giving their games free advertising. They've made a habit of shutting down SSBM tournaments using legal copies and OEM consoles because they thought it'd reduce SSBU sales. And yes, Nintendo did. There were many YouTubers who talks about Nintendo doing that to them. Of course, people nowadays like you, Midna, just either forgot or don't care because it didn't happen to you. That's fine, but what isn't fine is you acting like a moral compass when your morality is clearly misconstrued. Same as people forgot about the SSBM tournaments being shut down by Nintendo when this was reported on back then too. I'll leave a link of all Nintendo's anti-consumer practices in the description. Bagel replies with this meme here that's honestly a really good description of Nintendo fanboys and defenders. This just makes me smile. You wanna know what else makes me smile? This time sarcastically? Midna's response is, "This meme describes PlayStation fans. Your lack of self-awareness is arguably the most vile part about your hatred toward a good console publisher like Nintendo."
You serious?
First off, this doesn't describe PlayStation fans. It clearly describes Nintendo fanboys like yourself. You're the one with a lack of self-awareness. Secondly, this kind of meme would only ever describe fanboys of any console. And lastly, they never said quote-unquote that they hate Nintendo. That's your assumption based on your own confirmation bias. What they probably do hate is Nintendo's business practices and Nintendo fanboys like you constantly defending them. And third, Nintendo is not a good publisher. What they are is a publisher. Developers make the games, publishers don't. Video Games 101. Publishers may or may not have some thought in the process, but they are not on the development team usually, even if they are from the same company. Even so, the recent games Nintendo has published aren't even really good games. What they are is severely mid. At least a good amount of the current releases on Switch 2 are. Then in reply to this, Sev Marston says, "You would say this kind of shit unironically. Nintendo's music is only supposed to be listened to in their games. If you watch re-uploads, you're not just a thief, you're ruining the games." Then there's this quite big thread with Midna arguing with Glorious Kev here, and this isn't in any particular order, I just think this is funny. So it started with this. Glorious Kev says, "Nintendo apologists are some of the most delusional people in gaming." And then this meme here saying, "Vote for my wallet? Nah. Vote for corporate wallets? Yeah." Just memeing on the subject because of how retarded it is. This allowed me to go down the rabbit hole and find this reply to Kev memeing with PC Master Race stuff because Fratanga posted about Metroid Prime 4 already running well on PC emulators. I'm not sorry, Midna, this is legitimately a PCW, even if Metroid Prime 4 is not a game that I'll play personally. Which then Midna said in response, "We need to kill PC gaming as a platform. I have a spoon, so your argument is invalid." And you bet I have something to say about that since, number one, Midna, you can't be this oblivious and stupid, right? Are you aware video games are made on a computer? Number two, do you even realize how many players are on the PC platform? It's way more than your precious Nintendo consoles, that's for sure. PC gaming is the largest of all the gaming platforms, something that should be incredibly obvious. So that makes this train of thought seem like a major dumbass thing to say. Oh wait, that's because it is a dumbass thing to say. We have someone who's actually based here. Richard, the gamer-lectual rooster, says, "The best platform? Then gaming would just become a dystopia," laughing my fucking ass off. And then Midna has the fucking gall to say, "You're not the best platform. platform. You're the worst one, and an active detriment to the gaming market as a whole. And oh boy, do I have something to say to that. The PC is the best platform, you megatard. What on earth made you come to the conclusion that it wasn't? Are we even living on the same planet? It's just like this guy replied to you. PC is an open platform, and much more. PC has thousands of indie titles that never see the light of day on your consoles because it's more expensive to port games to another system than put them on the system they were made with. Let's not forget that the PC has modding, which makes it that much better of a platform because it isn't locked down to the console and we can actually make our games more enjoyable. Mods are made on a PC. You want PC gaming to die? Where the communities for these mods and such and games and such are hell. Do you get why that's fucking retarded yet? Is it sinking in? And then Ziffo says in reply, I'll never understand why people care about what other systems people play on. And then Midna replies saying, I care that PC bros are constantly trying to kill gaming. And then 9 more replies, PC gaming has been around since before Nintendo released the Famicom. You better sit this one out. And they're actively trying to kill gaming now. Can you explain how? They're pirating software and slandering those games to hurt sales simply because Nintendo won't bend the knee and port their games to the PC. If piracy really was hurting software sales, how do you explain the success of Steam, GOG, and the Epic Games Launcher? Successful pirate sites just back up my point.
He cried, not knowing the difference between a simile and a metaphor. The tininess of his brain dwarfed only by the tininess of his dick.
This has got to be intentional at this point. There's no actual way you are so stupid that you believe Steam, GOG, and Epic Games are all piracy sites. You're literally Harmon Smith's alt account with shit like that. Luckily, you haven't made videos for 4 years complaining about Elden Ring's success. There's not any reason I would mention that. Except none of those are piracy sites, stupid. They're storefronts where you buy PC games. Kagato Asuka 89 says, PC gaming has kept so many companies alive and brought so many games to consoles due to their success on the PC. PC gamers literally buy more games than anyone else. Which, yeah, statistically is true considering the mass amount of players we have. Their pursuit of power is one of the primary causes for all these studio shutdowns. You're talking out of your ass.
You suck!
No, Midna, you are talking out of your ass. Most PC gamers don't advocate for power at all. They keep with mid-tier builds because those can run most games. The only reason we're having to go higher is not because of us, it's because Nvidia keeps making higher power cards and developers and publishers keep wanting to use the newest shit for all their games. That's not on PC gamers. That's on the retarded companies who just assume what we want when many PC gamers have been advocating for years that we'd prefer a fully fleshed out game over complete garbage. In no fucking way is that our fault. Menson says, how are we trying to kill consoles exactly? How are you not? The Switch was emulatable within a year, still one of Nintendo's highest selling consoles. Same is true of the Wii. And yes, this is a fact. The reason the Switch 2 isn't selling as well is quite apparent. Same exact console, $450 for a bit higher specs that put it in line with other consoles that were already ahead of it. The PC still claps it obviously, and it had an even worse launch than the first one. Lots of families just aren't going to pay $450 for a Switch 2 when the Switch 1 is cheaper and the Steam Deck is a better alternative because of the game catalog. Midna says, PC bros deadass be like, the fuck did I do? I only pirated games as a way to attack Nintendo for not bending the knee and porting games to our platform. I only forced platforms to port to our platform, and that's part of why Xbox and PlayStation are on life support.
Yo, is this person retarded?
Yes, she's retarded.
Completely wrong. For one thing, plenty of games that are pirated are no longer sold by Nintendo, so they make zero profit from them. If they're being offered on subscription services, it is not the same product, same result. The product at the point is the subscription service. Secondly, no one pirates video games to attack Nintendo. They do it because Nintendo keeps their ecosystem closed. Do you seriously think that Nintendo games wouldn't sell if they were put on Steam? There's a huge demand for them on here. Nintendo is the one keeping PC gamers out. So of course, they're going to find a way. Emulation and piracy aren't the same thing, and not all PC users pirate video games. That's a very small amount of PC gamers, which retards like you don't know the difference about because you somehow consider places to purchase PC games as piracy sites. You are one of the biggest retards I've ever seen. Corporate shill for Nintendo you are. Nintendo could lace your drink and you'd knowingly drink it anyways. PC gamers forced no one want to port to the PC. Piracy is not forcing them to do anything, and neither is emulation. PlayStation made their own choice to port games to PC, and so did Xbox. First reply here being, seek professional help. Yes, PC bros need to seek professional help. I've never seen such corporate cattle like you. You've been at it for days now. Yep, complete corporate cattle makes them so fun to make fun of. Thanks for paying for my freeware, Nintendo shill. Thanks for giving Nintendo more reasons to never port their games to PC, elitist. Totally not a three-letter agency says, never express your opinions ever again. Good thing I was expressing facts. Absolute bullshit. No, the fuck you weren't. You were expressing what you think is a fact. You made a meme and replied to someone else memeing on you. That's anything but a factoid-driven action. Whether that's a reason for Nintendo to or not has never been made clear by Nintendo, therefore anything you say is speculation. Case in point. That's the same for anyone arguing it's for other reasons. We base our reasoning on likelihood based on a percentage of what's actually happening. The only difference is your statistic is wrong. Thinking the majority of PC users pirate games is one of the biggest reasons why you are actually wrong. But you always conveniently run away when someone catches you in your bullshit because you're nothing but a lying, Nintendo dick-riding, shit-consuming retard. Anyways, that's all I had to say for this video. I really hope what I showed here convinced the right people that this person should never be gone to for an opinion about gaming, because all they'll do is scream Nintendo's praises. And that's so fun to make fun of, but at the same time, very tiring to see. Hope you enjoyed this video, and see you in the next one.